Feral Mermaid Man. A magical green moon turns everyone in Bikini Bottom into savage, feral versions of themselves. The transformation is instant and complete. SpongeBob becomes a wild animal. Patrick becomes a predator. Sandy fights to maintain control. And Mermaid Man? The elderly superhero becomes a monster. Feral Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy corner SpongeBob and his friends in a scene that plays like genuine horror. They're growling, teeth bared, eyes wild. Mermaid Man snarls about how they should have stayed deaf and blind, implying he's about to murder them to silence witnesses. SpongeBob looks genuinely terrified, not cartoon scared, actually afraid for his life. Because for once, the threat isn't a villain he can reason with or outsmart. It's his own friends turned into killers, heroes transformed into hunters, actively trying to tear him apart. The entire city turned into a pack of violent animals ready to slaughter each other on instinct. If Sandy hadn't reversed the spell when she did, SpongeBob would have been mauled to death by the very people who usually protect him. This isn't cartoon danger, this is survival horror dropped into Bikini Bottom. Dehydration at Sandy's. SpongeBob's very first near-death experience. The pilot episode, his introduction to Sandy Cheeks. She invites him to her air-filled tree dome for tea, and SpongeBob, not wanting to seem rude or ignorant, doesn't mention that he needs water to survive. He starts drying out immediately. Within seconds of entering the dome, his body begins to fail. His voice becomes high-pitched and panicked. He hallucinates. His body shrivels and cracks. His eyes bulge. He's experiencing the sea sponge equivalent of suffocation. SpongeBob is literally dying and chooses not to say anything because he doesn't want to be impolite. He'd rather die than interrupt Sandy's tea party with his basic survival needs. Patrick shows up in the same condition, both of them on the verge of death. If Patrick hadn't thought to bring water jars, both of them would have suffocated from dehydration in Sandy's living room while she casually talked about Texas. This is death by politeness. SpongeBob was going to let himself die rather than be rude. It's the most SpongeBob way to almost die, killed by his own desperate need to be liked. Beach disintegration. In the second SpongeBob movie, after defeating the pirate Burger Beard, SpongeBob walks onto a Florida beach, and he completely disintegrates. Not cartoon falls apart, not gets a little dry. He actually genuinely disintegrates into a pile of sand. The visual is played tragically, sad, dramatic music, his body visibly crumbling away, first his arms, then his legs, then his torso, until there's nothing left but sand scattered on the beach, with his iconic square pants and hat remaining as the only proof he existed. SpongeBob died. He actually died on screen in a theatrical film. The show depicted the death of its main character in graphic, heartbreaking detail. David Hasselhoff had to use water from his face, triggered by surf report vibrations, to miraculously resurrect him. This is the most dramatic death scene in SpongeBob history. They showed a beloved character die in front of millions of viewers. Kids watching this genuinely thought SpongeBob was gone forever. That's how real it looked. That's how final it felt. Death by dehydration, filmed and scored like a funeral scene. Impaled at Ripper's Reef. SpongeBob idolizes Daredevil Larry the Lobster, so when Patrick suggests living recklessly like Larry, SpongeBob abandons all sense of self-preservation. They start with small stunts, then escalate and escalate until they reach the ultimate test of bravery. The final stunt, jumping off a cliff onto Ripper's Reef, a jagged formation of sharp, deadly spikes jutting from the ocean floor. Patrick jumps first, skateboard and all. SpongeBob cuts the anchor rope to prove his courage, then Larry himself follows to save them. All three get impaled on the spires. Not cartoon bonked, actually impaled, hanging from spikes with their bodies pierced completely through. The camera shows them dangling there, wounded, their bodies visibly penetrated by stone. They end up hospitalized in full-body casts, and Larry's exact words afterward, SpongeBob, nearly killed them all. This wasn't a joke stunt gone wrong. This was suicide by enthusiasm. SpongeBob was so committed to being like Larry, so desperate to prove his bravery, that he willingly jumped onto death spikes and somehow survived with his internal organs intact. The bomb pie. Squidward accidentally buys a pie from pirates. Not a regular pie, a bomb disguised as dessert, a military-grade explosive device with enough power to level a small city. And Squidward, feeling guilty about forgetting Employees Day, gives it to SpongeBob, who immediately eats it. Squidward realizes his catastrophic mistake moments too late. He's just fed his co-worker a weapon of mass destruction. He tells SpongeBob the truth. The pie is a bomb that will detonate at sunset. SpongeBob has hours to live. The episode becomes a countdown to death. SpongeBob, believing he's dying, spends his final day completing a bucket list with Squidward. At sunset, they sit on a hill. SpongeBob talks beautifully about how, if I were to die in some sort of fiery explosion, this sunset would be exactly what I would want. Squidward embraces him. The sun sets. They brace for the explosion that will vaporize them both, and nothing. SpongeBob sheepishly reveals he burped out the bomb earlier. But here's the thing. The bomb was real. The explosive power was real. SpongeBob spent an entire day as a walking city-destroying weapon. One wrong internal combustion and half of Bikini Bottom would have been atomized. Hooked to the surface, Mr. Krabs delivers a stark warning about fishing hooks. Get caught on one, and you'll be dragged to the surface and eaten or sold at a gift shop. There's no ambiguity here. Hooks mean death. Either you get eaten by surface dwellers, or you become a dried-out souvenir. SpongeBob and Patrick ignore the warning completely. They treat the hooks like playground equipment, swinging, playing, having fun, and inevitably, disaster strikes. SpongeBob gets caught. The hook pierces his body and starts dragging him upward out of the ocean. Mr. Krabs sees it happening and screams in absolute terror. This isn't cartoon alarm. This is genuine horror from someone watching a friend being pulled to their death. SpongeBob rises higher and higher, the music turning ominous as the surface world approaches. Being fished out means guaranteed death for a sea creature. For a sponge, reaching the surface world equals immediate suffocation, predation by seagulls, or being dried out and sold as a bathroom accessory. SpongeBob only escapes by stripping off his pants to slip free from the hook. He was seconds, literally seconds, from being caught, killed, and mounted on a gift shop wall. Near-death heaven vision. Frustrated that he can't fly with the jellyfish despite trying everything, SpongeBob reaches his breaking point. He's tried mechanical wings, he's tried contraptions, nothing works. So in a moment of complete desperation and defeat, he jumps off a high pier. He's convinced he's going to die, and in his mind he does. The screen goes white, the world fades. SpongeBob has a vision of what appears to be heaven. Ghostly figures floating around him, departed characters he's known, gravestone imagery, ethereal music. He encounters the Flying Dutchman. He sees visions of Pearl. These are death images, afterlife symbolism. SpongeBob is experiencing what he believes is the transition from life to death. He's processed his own mortality and accepted it. Then he wakes up in a hospital bed, completely bandaged, shocked and confused that he survived. This wasn't just a close call. This was a suicide attempt played as a dream sequence. SpongeBob genuinely believed jumping off that pier would end his life. And for a moment, in his consciousness, in his subjective experience, it did. The episode treats this as a legitimate near-death experience where SpongeBob crossed over and miraculously came back. King Neptune's execution. King Neptune catches Mr. Krabs with his stolen crown. Convinced of betrayal, Neptune decides on immediate execution. No trial, no evidence, just royal judgment and death by boiling oil in the Krusty Krab kitchen. SpongeBob rushes in and offers to retrieve the real crown from Shell City to prove Mr. Krabs' innocence. Neptune scoffs at the idea. Shell City is too dangerous, too far, too impossible. He prepares to proceed with the execution. Mr. Krabs will die. Today, right now, SpongeBob jumps between them. He physically blocks the execution, offering his own life. If you're going to kill him, you're going to have to kill me too. Neptune, enraged by the defiance, agrees. Fine, I'll fry you both. SpongeBob physically blocked a god's execution order. Neptune has the scalding oven ready. The oil is boiling. He's seconds from dropping them both into liquid fire. Only Princess Mindy's last-second intervention stops the murder. Without her, SpongeBob would have been cooked alive in that kitchen, boiled in oil alongside his boss. This is attempted execution, royal execution by an all-powerful sea deity. SpongeBob looked Neptune directly in the eye and said, "Kill me too if that's what it takes." That's not bravery. That's accepting death. That's choosing to die rather than watch someone else suffer alone. The Cyclops heat lamp. The most famous, most dramatic, most emotionally devastating near-death in SpongeBob history. After journeying to Shell City to retrieve King Neptune's crown, SpongeBob and Patrick are captured by the Cyclops, a human collector who dries out sea creatures to sell as souvenirs. The Cyclops places them under a high-intensity heat lamp specifically designed to kill through dehydration. This isn't accidental exposure. This is methodical murder. We watch them die. The show explicitly depicts the death of its main characters. The lamp intensifies, their bodies begin to shrivel and crack. They try to stay positive. "We can do this, buddy." But the heat is relentless. Their skin dries, their voices weaken, they start to lose consciousness, and then they accept it. They look at each other and understand this is how they die, together, far from home, trying to save Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob's last words, "I'm glad we're doing this together." Patrick agrees. They each shed one final tear. Those tears aren't cartoon sadness. Those are the tears of dying characters saying goodbye to each other and to life. They've accepted their fate. They're ready. And in that moment, SpongeBob and Patrick die under that lamp. Then one tear rolls down, hits an electrical outlet, short-circuits the lamp, and triggers the sprinklers. Water floods the chamber. And through absolute miracle, they revive. They come back. But before that resurrection, they were gone. This scene is the emotional climax of the first movie. It proves SpongeBob could handle real stakes, real mortality, real death. When those tears fell, millions of kids watching in theaters thought their favorite characters were gone forever. The music swelled, the screen dimmed, everything about that moment screamed, "This is the end." And for a few seconds, it was. From harpoon attacks to bomb pies to literal execution attempts by vengeful gods, SpongeBob has survived the completely unsurvivable. He's been impaled, dehydrated, hooked, bombed, boiled, feral attacked, and dried to death. And every single time, through luck or miracle or sheer optimistic will, he survives. These aren't cartoon injuries that heal by next scene. These are lethal scenarios that should have ended the show permanently. Any one of these moments could have been SpongeBob's last. Anyone could have been the episode where Bikini Bottom lost its happiest resident forever. But SpongeBob keeps coming back, keeps smiling, keeps laughing that dolphin-inspired giggle while surviving situations that would kill literally anyone else. He's been clinically dead and revived. He's accepted his own death and been granted reprieve. He said goodbye to life and somehow found a way back. Maybe that's the real secret of SpongeBob SquarePants. He doesn't survive because of plot armor or cartoon physics. He survives because death itself can't handle that much genuine, unironic optimism. The universe looks at SpongeBob's pure joy and childlike wonder and decides, over and over, that he deserves another chance. SpongeBob should have died 10 times over, but he didn't. Not because he's indestructible, but because he's too genuinely, impossibly good for the universe to let go. And that's more powerful than any cartoon logic. That's a character who refuses to let mortality win, who faces death with a smile and a tear and somehow makes it out the other side every single time.